Welcome to the Rap Jukes podcast. Welcome to the Rap Jukes podcast. Welcome. What's good? What's happening, YouTube? It's your boy Profit Profhit coming at you again with another one. That's right, Profit Profhit, professional hit to all the MCs in the industry. Man, I've been, watching the NFL draft, and like everyone else, we were all wondering when Shedeur Sanders was going to be drafted. And he missed the first round, no draft. That was a big surprise. And let me tell you this before I even continue. I was thinking my Saints was going to pick up Shedeur at number 9. I was like, this is the perfect setup. Black and gold, Colorado. He doesn't have to change color schemes. He's coming to the Saints. We need a quarterback. Derek Carr has been injury prone. This would be perfect. Even if Carr came back, he can study up under Carr until Carr is hurt and, take over mid-season or whatever. But no, they decided to go with, I think, an offensive lineman for the first round pick. Offensive linemen, you can't really go bad with them if they're really good because they're always needed. But quarterbacks are almost always the most important piece on any good football team if you want to win. Think about Drew Brees. Since he retired, we really haven't been looking that good. So we missed out on him. I was surprised to see that. And then I think the Giants had traded up, and they ended up getting a different quarterback, man. Like 5 quarterbacks went before Shedeur in that first round. Second round comes up, still not drafted. Third round comes up, still not drafted. And then just today, I heard that he was drafted at the 144th pick to the Cleveland Browns, which makes me think that, well, before I even get into my opinion on it. So that's what's happening, man. Shedeur Sanders, of Colorado Buffalo, son of Deion Sanders, who was expected to be a lottery pick, one of the top in the top 10, sunk from becoming a first round pick to 144 pick. I think that's 4th round, maybe. I'm not sure because I stopped watching. And when he did get picked, they showed video of he and his brother dancing. Shiloh, who also got picked up as a free agent signing, who didn't get signed in the draft. Forgot what it's called, but he got picked up by someone as well. And he's a defensive back, Shedeur Sanders. I also saw a video of him, giving God the glory as he should. Shedeur jumping into the pool at the Sanders estate. But I gotta tell y'all my take on it, man. I gotta give y'all my rap on what I think about the whole situation. So first, let's think about why he dropped out of the first round. I mean, out of the first 3 rounds. Why was someone who was expected to go in the first round, high in the first round, dropped so low? There's a couple of things I want to attribute to that. The first thing is, I think that his dad, ever since he got into coaching, he's always been the type of player who, did a lot of showboating, bragging, but he was so good that he was able to back it up. If you know his dad, Deion Sanders, he played football, cornerback, was probably considered the greatest in NFL history. And he also played baseball for the Atlanta Braves. And he was pretty decent in baseball as well. One of the top picks, Hall of Famer, does commercials. Well, he got into coaching because he had coached his boys, his kids, all the way through high school. And he was doing some high school coaching out in Texas. He got his first break on the college ranks when he came to Jackson State. And that was an HBCU, and he took them to prominence and, made them do well. Had a couple of winning seasons, got a lot of, they garnered a lot of attention, a lot of stars and celebrities came out to support. He then left Jackson State for a bigger position at Colorado University, where he's been the coach for a couple of years. The first year, they only won 4 games. The prior year to that, they had won 1. And then this past year, they won 9 games, actually going to a bowl game, I believe, losing that bowl game. But this year, they had 2 Heisman Trophy candidates starting out the season, and that was Shedeur Sanders and his running mate, Travis Hunter, who plays on both sides of the ball, cornerback and receiver. He actually went second in the draft, and I'm proud of him because he faced a lot of scrutiny. We forgot with him and his girlfriend, earlier in the year, late last year, around bowl season, whenever, and when he won the Heisman, there was a lot of stuff going on. Go back and look at a later video, a past video, if you want to hear my take on that. But so Shedeur, he fell all the way out of the first 3 rounds after being projected to be one of the best quarterbacks, if not, the second best in the draft. He dropped all the way down there. And my first thing is, it was ownership, NFL ownership, coming together and deciding that they want to take the control back into their hands. Because in college, these football with the NIL, these high-profile players now control almost everything. They decide where they want to go. They can just up and leave and transfer from one year to the next year, and they're making a lot of money while doing it. And actually, I read something that Shedeur is going to be making less with his rookie NFL contract than he made in college with his NIL deal. Seeing that was kind of strange, but at the same time, could have been also a part of the plan. Not to get his kid no lottery money without really having, assurance that he's going to be what everyone is deeming him to be. And that's something I just thought about just now when I thought about the money aspect of it. But I think these coaches came together these owners came together to take back control from the players, and they had to use a high-profile player like Shedeur Sanders to make a point. Shedeur was the perfect candidate. He was a kid who really wouldn't suffer from falling like this because he comes from a wealthy background. Then at the same time, it was a way to humble Shedeur, because I heard he was, he's a very, very confident kid, but sometimes that comes across as arrogance. And there's a lot of arrogant players, from Johnny Manziel to Baker Mayfield. The list goes on. And they weren't treated like this. And Shedeur is probably almost equivalent to them in regards to being a prospect coming out of college. Well, I think the owners wanted to come together and make an example out of these hotshot college players and let them know that, hey, nothing's bigger than the shield. Nothing's bigger than the NFL. Nothing's bigger than a brand. I don't care what you did in college or how big you were in college. You're not going to come here and take over. And I think that's the point they were trying to get across, and I think they did a good job of doing it. Another aspect, and this could be just some petty stuff, they just wanted to humble Deion Sanders, because at this point, Deion Sanders, when made comments about where he was going to allow his children to go and where he wasn't going to allow them to go, a la Archie Manning when he did it with Eli. The difference, of course, 2 different races and racism, and not just saying it's racism. Race plays a big part of most things here in America. So this could have been a way of making a point to Dion, look, man, I don't know who you think you are, but you don't run things here either. You don't determine where players are going to go. You can't control where a player is going to go because of what you want and how you want it. We are the owners, quote unquote. We decide the fate of these players. We control these players. We want the poor black kid who has a dad in prison and has to beg to come out to see his son get drafted. We want those players. We want someone so happy to be with us that they're willing to look at their coaches and their owners as father figures. We don't need a powerful, rich, successful, confident father like you coming in and adding your 2 cents and controlling your son. Second thing is, I think they wanted to separate the two. And, I think they are slowly crowbarring Deion Sanders' control away from his sons. Because I read some other day, and I don't have fact on this, but I heard that Shedeur Sanders fired his dad as his agent. I guess, and he hired a new agent. So here starts the snowball effect. This Oliver Ball, he had this type of domineering father figure in the league, and he controlled his boy's career. And then they want Sanders to do the same thing, especially on the football side. So that was one reason these people colluded. I think owners came together. They had to come together and decide not to pick this boy for the first 3 rounds. Thirdly, Cleveland, where he landed, the Browns probably was not one of the teams Deion wanted him to go to. And, when Shedeur got signed, he finally got drafted to the Browns. He and his family was so excited. He was satisfied to play for a team that initially he probably wouldn't have never wanted to play for. But because of this humiliation ritual that they did, to him, it made him grateful just to be drafted. And I think they succeeded in doing that. And to any other young kid, especially young black, cocky and arrogant, a confident kid who's coming up out of college, take heed. If we want to control things, we want to drop you, we want to mess with your money, because a rookie contract is totally different from most of these. I think football, I think they all get the rookie contract. I would have to, before I even speak on that, because I know in basketball, the lottery players tend to get more money than players after who were picked up after, who were drafted after the lottery players. I'm not too sure about football. I think it's a rookie contract. It's a rookie contract, regardless of where you picked up. I think. I'm not. Don't quote me on that. But I think they succeeded in doing that. But finally, I would add, money still rules all, and most people do whatever it takes for money. Because even though Shedeur and his family are very, very God-driven, when it came to, I guess, the opportunity of continuing to make millions, and I know it's his dream to play in the NFL, he basically capitulated to what the NFL was doing, and he was grateful in being picked, even if it meant he was embarrassed or humiliated in front of the world, and was made a point of. He was grateful for that pick, and he just shows that sometimes the power of the dollar overrules everything. Whether that's religion, whether that's moral values, whether that's whatever. That the dollar still rules, and these owners understand that. And unfortunately, that's the way of not just America, but that's the way of the world. So I'm glad the young man finally got picked up. Maybe he'll come out with a chip on his shoulder. The NFL, they did what they wanted. They probably wanted him to go to Cleveland, smaller market to begin with. It'll give Cleveland a chance to get them another prospect and get Deshaun Watson out, because they made a big mistake with him. So I think, they got what they wanted. I think the only person who's looking real bad in this, especially if Shedeur fired his dad, is the father, Deion Sanders, who was the reason for them even being in the positions that they're in. But yeah, shout out to Shedeur. He got drafted for the Browns. I wish he would have came to the Saints, to be honest with you. But we'll see. We'll see what happens from this. Hopefully he comes into the league. He remains strong. He remains confident, and he remains, cocky. And he goes out there and perform well. And hopefully becomes rookie of the league, rookie of the year, and show all these owners that they made a mistake. And I don't think he really should be showing them because this was intentional. But y'all let me know your thoughts in the comments. Of course, like, share, subscribe to the video. Tell somebody about the channel, man. And to the next one. Peace.